The history of sourdough bread is as old as civilization itself. Archaeologists believe sourdough originated in ancient Egypt around 3000 BC. This discovery suggests that sourdough was likely one of the earliest forms of leavened bread. Before commercial yeast, bakers relied on wild yeast and bacteria in the air to ferment their dough. This natural fermentation process gave sourdough its distinctive tangy flavor. Sourdough became a staple food in ancient civilizations. It spread from Egypt to other parts of the world, including Europe and the Middle East. For centuries, sourdough was the primary way to make bread. People relied on its simple ingredients and natural fermentation process. Sourdough provided sustenance and nourishment for generations. Traditional sourdough production centers around a living culture of wild yeast and bacteria. This culture, known as a sourdough starter, is a mixture of flour and water fermented over time. The starter acts as the leavening agent in sourdough bread. It is responsible for the bread's characteristic sour flavor and texture. Making sourdough traditionally involves a slow fermentation process. Bakers mix flour, water, and a portion of their sourdough starter. They then leave the dough to ferment for several hours, allowing the wild yeast and bacteria to work their magic. This slow fermentation process develops complex flavors and improves the bread's digestibility. Traditional sourdough baking requires patience and skill. Bakers rely on their senses to determine when the dough is ready. They observe its rise, texture, and aroma. The baking process itself is equally important. Bakers often use wood-fired ovens or Dutch ovens to create the perfect crust and crumb. Modern sourdough production combines traditional techniques with scientific advancements. While still relying on natural fermentation, modern bakers have gained a deeper understanding of the science behind sourdough. This knowledge allows for greater control over the fermentation process and the final product. One significant development is the identification and cultivation of specific strains of yeast and bacteria found in sourdough starters. Bakers can now use these commercially available cultures to create sourdough with consistent flavor profiles. Additionally, modern tools such as digital scales and thermometers provide greater precision in measuring ingredients and monitoring fermentation temperatures. Despite these advancements, modern sourdough bakers still emphasize the importance of natural fermentation and high-quality ingredients. Bakers choose to mill their own flour from organic grains. They prioritize slow fermentation times to allow for maximum flavor development. Modern sourdough production represents a harmonious blend of tradition and innovation. Sourdough has experienced a resurgence in popularity in recent years. This renewed interest stems from a growing appreciation for artisanal foods and traditional baking methods. People are rediscovering the unique flavor, texture, and health benefits of sourdough bread. Sourdough's tangy flavor and chewy texture have made it a favorite among bread enthusiasts. The slow fermentation process also breaks down gluten, making sourdough easier to digest for some individuals. Moreover, sourdough is often perceived as a healthier alternative to commercially produced bread. This perception has contributed to its growing presence in bakeries, restaurants, and home kitchens worldwide. The resurgence of sourdough extends beyond its culinary appeal. It represents a connection to our culinary heritage. Baking sourdough has become a way for people to reconnect with the traditions of their ancestors. It is a way to nourish both body and soul. Sourdough's enduring appeal lies in its ability to bridge the gap